Today we are going to do polynomial inequalities. So here we go. You ready? The x-intercepts are the boundary points where the graph lies either above the x-axis or below the x-axis. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so the y values will either be positive to the left, in between, or to the right of these boundary points. So these y values are positive, these y values are negative, these y values are
Positive.
those y values are
Positive.
positive. All right, so you're going to graph a polynomial inequality. You're going to move all terms to one side of the inequality sign, so zeros on the other. This is the way you solve a polynomial equation anyway. Then you're going to solve the equation f of x equals 0. Ignore the inequality sign, set it equal to 0. These solutions are going to be the boundary points of the regions. So now you're going, so far I'm doing this, here's all algebraically. Locate these boundary points on the number line, identify the intervals the number line is divided into. This is kind of like domain when we had an even table. Is this going to move? I don't think this is going to move. Let's see. Now can I move it? Just doesn't like me to do it. All right. And so this is the intervals where you have test values in the function. You're going to choose the test values in each given interval. You substitute these values into the function, record whether the answer is positive or negative. And then maybe you don't have to graph. Then you're going to write the intervals that satisfy the inequality using parentheses for greater than, less than, and brackets for greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So this table you're very familiar with, okay? This table is nothing new. So let's do one. So the first thing you are going to do is you're going to rewrite this as 2x squared plus x minus 15 equals 0. Remember we said we're just going to put an equals there right now. And this is going to factor into 2x and x, and I don't know. Factors of 15 are 1, 15, 3, and 5. I need a 1 in the middle, so how about we do 5 and 3? Will that give me 6, take away 5? To give me a 1? So we've got x is equal to 5 halves, and we've got x equals negative 3. So is this old stuff? Yeah. So now we're going to do a table. Here's our table. And I think I need more pieces to my table. All right, so if I were to, do you agree one interval is going to be negative infinity to negative 3, negative 3 to 5 halves, and 5 halves to infinity? You can always draw a number line putting on negative 3 and 5 halves just to double check. So now we're going to do test values. Give me a test value.
Negative 4.
Another one.
Zero.
Negative 2. Another one.
1.
That's not going to work. That's not going to work. 3 will work. All right, what are we substituting it into? 2x minus 5 times x plus 3. Not on separate lines. So this is going to be negative 8 minus 5 is negative. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative. What's a negative times a negative? Positive.
Wait, Mr. Brian.
Yes.
When do you put it on the second line again?
Pardon?
When do you put it on the second line? If it was like 6 plus.
Oh, if they were like one in the numerator, one in the denominator.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm going to go back up here and write this as 2x squared plus x minus 15 is greater than 0. All right, so now we put in negative 2. What's going to happen? Negative 2, that's negative 4 minus 5 is negative. Negative 2 plus 3 is positive, so that's going to give me a negative. 2 times 3 is 6, minus 5 is positive, times positive is positive. All right, so we want these numbers to be greater than 0. What does that mean?
Can't be below.
That means what?
Can't be below positive.
That means positive, correct? So that means that doesn't work. So the solution to this inequality is going to be negative infinity to negative 3, 5 halves to infinity. Now, what do we put around the negative 3 and the 5 halves? Look at the symbol, the parenthesis. Why don't we do a bracket? What would tell us? Because it's not equal to. So this is you already know how to do the table deal, right?
Yeah.
You already know how to solve a factoring, correct? So this looks a lot like domain for a root function, doesn't it?
So are we not, is this it?
Well, I'll have to look at the slides, but it may be. So let's look at this one. All right, so this is going to be x squared plus 6x plus 8 is less than 0. So it's important that you move things to the other side. And what does this tell me? What will I be looking for now?
Less than negative.
I'm going to be looking for negatives, all right? But in the meantime, we're going to take our x squared plus 6x plus 8, and we're going to set it equal to 0. Factors of 8 that add to give me 6 are 4 and 2. So we're going to get x equal negative 4 and x equal negative 2. All right. So question, what are my intervals going to be?
Negative infinity to negative 4.
I wonder if this is movable. Negative and, not really, okay. Negative infinity to negative 4.
And then negative 4 to negative 2.
And?
And then 2 to infinity.
Okay, those are my test values. What test values do you want to do?
Yeah.
Negative 5 works.
Negative 3.
Negative 3.
Negative 1. 0.
Okay, so now negative 5 plus 4 is negative. Negative 5 minus 2 is negative. It's a negative times a negative. Positive. Negative 3 plus 4 is positive. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative, so that's going to be negative. And then that's going to be positive. What don't we want this time?
A positive.
We don't want the positives, we want the what?
Negative.
So the solution to this is going to be negative 4 to negative 2. What do I put around these? Why?
Because it's not equal to 2.
There's no bar. Do you like this better than where we've been?
Yeah.
I thought you might. Okay, there's 2.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to have to extend it to cubics.
What? Basically the same thing.
Okay, so let's are you ready to extend?
Yeah.
You don't want to do any more quadratics?
No.
Okay.
Are you recording?
I believe I am.
Okay.
You know, I've got an h of x equals, and then I've got this. So I think what I'm going to do, which one do you want to do? Which one do you think is harder, G or H? Okay,
First one?
so the problem with the first one is it's not an inequality.
Now it is.
Okay, so if I rewrite this as x cubed minus 4x, how should I put the sign? Well, what?
It's the same thing. It's going to be greater than 0.
Right, the point still has to point to 0. Okay, how do you factor this?
Is it greater than equal to? Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, there's a little bar. Okay, so how do we factor?
It's going to take out an x squared minus 4, right? And then you set those to 0. Remember that x squared is minus 4 is x plus 2, x minus 2.
So x equals 0, and then we've got x plus 2 times x minus 2 equals 0.
Yeah.
So we got x equals,
2 and negative 2.
okay,
And 0. And 0.
and so I got 3.
Yeah.
So now what's my table going to be like?
3, 4. Negative.
It's going to be a lot, isn't it?
Negative infinity, negative 2.
Okay, hold on. Let me improve my table. So it's just, the table just grows, doesn't it?
A lot. Oh my. I know I shouldn't put it in. I wish that would only.
Okay, there we go. I'm putting my table in my, there it is, see? Now I can have it anytime I want it.
Oh, that's a bigger one.
Okay,
Are you ready?
All right.
Negative infinity to
Oh, wait a minute. That's a plus. Negative infinity to negative 2.
Negative 2 to 0. 0 to 2. 2 to infinity.
Test values.
Negative 3. Negative 1. Just 1 and 3.
Now, we've got x, and I think I'm going to write x squared minus 4 because that's pretty easy to do. This is going to be negative. Negative 3 squared minus 4 is positive, so what is this? Negative. Put in negative 1, I'll have negative. Negative 1 squared minus 4 is negative, so this is, put 1 in, that's going to be positive. Now it's 1 squared minus 4.
Negative.
So that's going to be negative. 3 is positive. What's 9 minus 4?
Positive.
So what do we want?
Positive.
Greater than 0 means positive. So it's going to be,
Bracket negative 2.
why a bracket?
Because it's
It's equal.
Because it's equal to?
And then u bracket 2 to infinity.
Purpose.
Alright, let's go. Why is there a bracket?
Because it's greater than or equal to.
So the whole thing.
Everything has brackets but for infinity. All right, that's easy. Do you agree?
Yeah, we're done.
Let's do one of these.
Still so easy.
Still so easy?
Yeah. Like, it's not gonna try.
Well, but let's do it because there's going to be 3/4 of the people that have to watch this online, correct?
3/4, I guess.
So we've got x cubed plus 3x squared minus x minus 3 is less than or equal to 0. So what kind of factoring is this?
Grouping.
Factor by grouping, so we got to make that a negative x. So we're going to group.
So did you change the 3 to?
No, because there were no parentheses, correct?
Oh, correct.
So we factor out x squared, leaving us with x plus.
3.
Then we're going to factor out a negative 1, leaving us with.
X plus 3.
Okay, so now on the test, some people did really weird things with this. You are not done factoring. You are not ready to set anything equal to 0. So this is going to be x squared minus 1, and I should say I'm putting it to equal to 0. So how does the x squared minus 1 factor?
X plus 1, x minus 1.
And these would all be multiplicity of,
1.
therefore they
Uh,
cross.
Oh, dear.
What are we looking for, by the way?
Less than 0.
Less than 0 means negative numbers. All right, so let's grab a table.
Miss Friday, isn't that homework if it's like graphical solutions up in a real number line? Can we just skip that? Just do it for multiplication.
Oh, we'll go back and graph them on the real number line. We'll do both.
Oh, we're good.
No, I'll probably do it on the test. So
Ah.
negative infinity to negative 3. Negative 3 to
Negative 1. Negative 1 to 1. 1 to infinity. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
test values.
Negative 4. Negative 2.
0.
0. 2.
All right, now we're testing x plus 3, x plus 1, and,
X minus
This one, this one.
okay, so that's a lot to test. So what do we have? Negative 4 plus 3 is negative. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative. Negative 4 minus 1 is negative. 3 negatives make a.
Negative. Negative.
Negative 2 plus 3 is positive. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative. What do we have?
Positive.
0 plus 3, 0 plus 1, 0 minus 1.
Positive. Negative.
Negative.
2 plus 3, 2 plus 1, 2 minus 1.
Positive.
Okay, what did we say we needed?
Negative.
So the solution is going to be,
Negative
Negative
infinity.
infinity.
Negative
3. Bracket.
is it?
2e. Yeah. Because it's equal to.
Okay,
And then open. It's going to be
It's 1.
negative 1
Bracket.
to
Negative 1
1.
to 1. Bracket.
Bracket. Done.
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 Wait, now how would you graph that on the number line? Would you
Oh.
graph?
So I would graph negative 3.
Yeah, I remember this.
I would graph negative 1. I would graph 1. And remember, in this course, we do this instead of a closed circle. Do you remember that? And then between 1 and 1, we're going to have brackets.
Right.
See, it's not hard.
Okay, we're done.
Do you want me to go back and graph any others?
We got it.
Okay, so for those who are listening, you can go ahead and start your homework. I'm still going to go ahead and back. So we've got -2, we've got 0, and we've got 2. If I were going to graph this, I'd put a bracket at -2 and at 0. Then I'd put a bracket at -2 and go that way. So now we'll graph this one. This would be -infinity to 3 with the parenthesis. And then we would have a parenthesis at 5/2 to infinity.
I'm scared. I feel like you're gonna learn a lot.